What's up, family? Welcome back to another episode of On the Other End podcast. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing to you live, like I said before, someone very, very special to me is my personal and my own athletic trainer, but he's just more than an athletic trainer. He's like a spiritual mental coach. He's a little bit of everything, the sauce you need in the morning to get right. We're going to get over that and get to that very soon. But first, we got to talk about these ads, man. And did somebody say playoffs? The NBA, MLB, and NHL are in full swing, and our partners at BetOnline have you covered. I'll tell you what, I've been betting a lot on these NBA games, especially this OKC Houston game that's coming down to the wire. But you know, I got my money on the lefty James Harden because he's just in the family. Like, how can you not go with the lucky number 13? So anyway, so taking full advantage of sports being back and get in on the action with hundreds of odds, futures, and props for you to bet on. There's always the online casino as well. It never closes. So this is giving you every opportunity to get right in this casino. So remember, head to betonline.ag today and sign up to receive your own welcome bonus on your first deposit. Again, that's betonline.ag and sign up today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you again, I'm bringing to you a special guest to me, myself, and I, and to the whole athletic community, Gregory Oliver, none other than known as Sweets. Here we go. What's up, baby?
What up, bro? What's good?
Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. It's been a long time, but I'm glad that you made some time for me.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, for sure. Anything for you, brother. Anything for you. You know the deal. I'm so proud.
Absolutely.
Oh, bro. So hype. Let's go.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Like, it's finally a chance to get to talk about all the stuff we got to talk about in the gym and get a chance to get it on a platform like this. But it's been so much going on as far as the quarantine, and it's been affecting gyms heavily like we've been seeing. What have you been up to during this time, and how you been getting through it?
Man, so it's been tough, like literally. So we had in the beginning of this thing when it first started, so we shut everything down in like March, which is right in the middle of spring training here for us in Arizona. And so I took a huge hit with my baseball clients and a lot of things. Everybody took a hit. I mean, the entire country did basically, but it was difficult for us. So we shut down to try to, to make sure that we would minimize the spread and all those different things. And then after about a month in, after just some diligence, talking to some scientists, we figured out that we could get some things done outside. So we transformed the gym to basically move everything. I picked up all the equipment, moved all of our equipment outside, and started training athletes and my regular clients outside.
Hasn't it been kind of more of like a cool adaptation, like almost what gyms were supposed to be, more outside, kind of getting the nature experience while lifting? It kind of takes your business to another opportunity, it seems like.
Yeah, well, it's different. So like, so you come from a world, and we come from a world where we're half of the business we do is inside, and half the business we do is outside. So every athlete, actually every football athlete, football and baseball, soccer, everybody except for basketball and like volleyball and those players, whatever. But most athletes have already been spending time in the gym and on the track or on the field. So they've gotten that duality of kind of both. And most people don't get that when they're just kind of working out. So if you go to LA Fitness or something like that, you're never going to be in a place where you are, you're inside and working out outside. And so that aspect has made it great for a lot of my clients because it's something new for them. We do a lot more, there's a lot of hill work. Some stuff I do with my athletes now I'm doing with regular people, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like now everybody wants to be an athlete in some respect. You see, and everybody taking a step towards more exercise and being outside, especially because it's hot out there in Arizona with you. But before you even got into training, you was in, like we talked about, each other's world as an athlete. Yeah. So you've always said you were the fastest guy around. Is that how you kind of started getting into football?
I'm still pretty fast. I ain't gonna lie. I'm still pretty fast. And cats lined up this year try to take me. I will race literally anybody in about 10 yards. But after the 10 yards, you got something to talk about. Like, I'm not running 40s no more. But first 10 yards, I still the old man. I still got a little something in the tank. I can still move around a little bit.
I mean, it looks like it, man. You look like you're my age, around 25, the way you were able to stay so young and so active. But how was football impactful for you, especially in the beginning? Because, like everybody else, you was on a mission to try to play for the hometown team in Dallas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it's in reality, like I guess, like most athletes, you get to a place where like growing up, I never thought I was going to play professional football. I was a third generation professional athlete. So my grandfather played in the Negro Leagues. My father played for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Patriots and some other stuff. He got moved around a little bit or whatever. But and then I was going to school just so I can go to law school. And then at the end of that deal, they were like, you know, you can get paid to play football. So I was like, you know what? I mean, let's see where this takes me. So ended up having to take a long road to the NFL. And so man, it was some trials and tribulations, and you know, trying to, you know, beat your head up against the wall. And it's really difficult when you put your own self-value in the hands of somebody else's opinion, and that's what's difficult. You know what I mean? Like, because no matter how good you think you are, somebody's gonna say, "Oh, he's not tall enough," or "Oh, he's not fast enough," or "Oh, he, you know, drops too many balls," or "He catches this way," or whatever. And they may have you know, somebody in the organization that they don't need you. You know, they don't need your specific skill set at that time. So it's a lot of luck and a lot of preparation, and then I just never gave up. You know, I just never gave up. And then unfortunately, when I finally got into the NFL, I got a car accident, broke my arm, broke my leg, compound fracture, ended my career, which forced me to go to my second passion, which was training people. You know, and so it's great because I look at it more as a the developmental process of people in general, not just their physical bodies, but their mental bodies as well. I try to mentor as much as I possibly can. I try to speak life into people's lives rather than the negativity, and then hopefully when they're done either training with me, they can go on to whether it be great success athletically or great success in some other realm. But when they leave, they're better off than they were when they got here.
That's tough because that's very mature hindsight way of looking at it. Because, like you said, you was fighting so hard, even to where you were overseas at one point,
Yeah.
playing professional football, chasing your dream, and just that dynamic to start with. How did that maybe it hurt, help your passion in chasing that drive, and just what you saw from playing in another country, what you love to do?
Well, man, it's funny. So I'll never forget. I was selling cars in the United States, and I was living with a girlfriend at the time, and they had this new league that was coming out, just like the XFL. They had all these things that were happening, and then I found myself in a park, like just in the park, and I was sitting in the Jeep, and I was crying, and I was talking to God, and I was like, you know, God, all I want to do is play football. That's all I want to do. And God said, quit your job. And I said, what'd you say? What? Quit your job. I was like, and at the time I was making really good money. Um, and so I quit my job. When I leaped out on faith, quit my job, and then just started training. Started training every day. So, you know, things go by. About a month and a half later, one of my college teammates was playing in Europe and was like, hey, listen, we've lost our first two games. We really need a wide receiver. Uh, you know, we can pay you if you can come out here. Are you in shape? And I was like, am I in shape? I'm ready to go. So now that's how it all turned. You know, it turned. I ended up going out there, got a chance to submerge myself in a different language, learn different culture. It's crazy because all the things that are happening right now in the United States when it comes to, you know, racism and a lot of things that are like that. When I first got to Europe, I thought I was the most well-rounded person, and I realized that I was looking at the world like this. I had tunnel vision, and I got there, and people were like, "Oh man, you know, they asked me first, like, "Oh, you from England?" I'm like, no, you must be from France. I'm like, no, I'm from the United States. First of all, I didn't know there were that many black people in France, right? I had no
Really?
idea there were black people in France. And so, because every movie we see in America, they don't show any black people in France. There's a ton of black people in France. So people thought, I was French. I'm like, nah, you know, I'm from the States. And they were like, oh my God, American. I'm like, yeah. Like, man, you can't even drive a car over there. They'll pull you over and beat you, huh? And I was like, no, man, it ain't that bad, you know. It ain't
And
that
that
bad.
wasn't last year. That was
Yeah,
back way
you know?
before that.
Right, yeah, right. And this is we're talking about, you know, I'm not gonna date myself. We're talking about way back, you know. And now to having all these things happening now at the same time, you know, it's like your retro pants, you know, like somehow you know, you used to wear them and now they back again, and it's the same thing over and over again. And hopefully this time there could be some change made, you know, to move forward.
Now you see so much with athletes having more of a social influence, particularly on our own culture, our Black culture, where athletes are at a held at a pedestal to where a lot of people would suggest they should say things that galvanize our people, or even just have to have a point to be made. Do you just think that that there is an importance for the athletic community to say and speak on social issues like there are, because there's so much divide as there is right now?
Yeah, I think that it's up to every person, right? It's up to every person. It's not like everybody has. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion, but not everybody's got a voice and a platform to be able to be used. They can or they shouldn't have to. I mean, like Charles Barkley used to say all the time, I'm not a role model. You don't have to, don't follow me, don't say, all those things. But now the culture has changed to a place to where um, there we are so idyllic. We make idols out of everybody, and so when you get a chance to have, you got 5,000 followers, all of a sudden you got voice. So now when you got people who have millions of followers and LeBron James, and they have all this platform, and people hang on their every word when they say something, then you have sort of a responsibility, in my eyes. You have a sort of responsibility to say something, and you have the right not to. You have the right not to. But if you are talking about, you see some things and you know that somehow those things are not right, and you don't speak on them, then what's that platform for? It can't be just for your own gain. At some point, you got to be able to reach back and give back. And if we have gotten to a place when I was a kid, it used to be each one teach one, and that just meant, when you knew better, you did better, and then you taught somebody else how to do better. So I would come up, and then if I was a senior and I looked back and I saw a freshman getting in trouble or doing whatever there was, and I knew a better way, I would say, "Hey, bro, actually, we should be do it like this," and then hopefully he would, in turn, tell the next person. And now we've gotten to this someplace where people have gotten so far and they removed themselves so far from where they came from that it's hard to reach back, and help somebody else out, by living their dreams. So it is, I think, like I said, I think what you're doing is phenomenal. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. I think that by using your platform and the ways that you're using it, it's just going to open up doors for the people to come behind you to do the same thing. That's just, I think it's awesome.
And it's just an interesting perspective too when it comes down to now you got a lot of people that are saying things and are trying to make stances. And now you also in a day and age where the information can be hijacked or misconstrued to where you may have the right intentions, but some of the things that you're saying may not be the right thing. And I think it just speaks to how at the end of the day, if we want it to be at this point different, it should be more organized. Maybe it should be a constructive set of collective ideas. I feel like everybody is kind of just shooting at the lip on things that have absolute objectivity to what it pertains to us and how it matters to us. But everybody's saying different things. I think there just needs to be some solidarity within our own selves before it gets too spread out, because once it's too spread out, I just think there's just too much confusion as to what direction to go.
Yeah, but how do you do that? How do you do that? You're talking about different. Everybody's got. We're not monolithic. We're not monolithic. I have a ton of conservative friends. I have a ton of liberal friends, and that's inside the Black community and outside the Black community. You see what I'm saying? So like, and not everybody wants the same things, or it's and not everybody sees the needs the same. And so we have to figure out, kind of what we want first, and then we'll figure out what we want, and then decide who all wants the same things, and then let those people get into that deal, and we can move that project forward, rather than getting everybody together, right? Getting everybody together and then trying to decide what you want, because now you are stuck in a place where you got this big pie of all these people, and they're all different directions. Everybody wants something different. You got to find out, kind of what we want. And if we start with, we can get one thing straight. All right, we want racial justice. Maybe that's the one thing we can get everybody together on, right? Everybody together on this one platform. So you get them all in on that, and then once we get that one thing, basically attacked and done, then we can spin off and do, economic empowerment or whatever else we're looking for. Those things that there, and then that way, once you have everybody in one place, you can kind of move them around a little bit. But before that, I mean, what do you do? I mean, how do you get to that place where you have people with different ideas to come to the same space?
And you do it like, well, as a microcosm, you're the passion that you have to be able to bring together so many different types of people through training. Just as an example, that it's not just you're training one specific group of people; it's very spread out, but it's a common denominator. So, explain kind of how you view training as a microcosm to your relations to what's causing so much divide right now.
Yeah. So it's funny because I think that basketball players and football players train differently, right? Mindset is completely different. Like, it's completely different. It's funny because as I'm sitting here with a Damian Lillard shirt on, right? Right. So it is it's just funny because their thought most basketball players' thought processes of grinding and working hard, football players would call it easy day, right? So it's one of those things because you don't want to get thing and you got to elongate the muscles, but it's they both work hard in their own right, and all athletes work hard in their own right, but trying to find what the like it's like a pain threshold. Everybody's got a different pain threshold, and just the fact that that football players I use football players because I play football, so it's one of those things. I put them up a notch up all the time because that's what I do. But when you break down kind of the differences, I would say like the football players are like the Marines, baseball players are like the Army, and basketball players are like the Air Force. Right, so they're all military guys. They
Yeah,
all
military.
they all
Yeah.
got this thing, and then they all have special forces, and they all got the upper echelons of the things. But some of them are just harder and grittier than the others, and so the amount of weight you can put on their back, and you send them through the thing first. It's just different, and I think that and you have to train them differently because baseball players are really cerebral. A lot of them are really cerebral. They think more. If we were smarter, we'd play baseball, right? We'd play baseball. But it wouldn't take all these shots to the head with all these things. I laugh because both Barry Bonds and Willie Mays sat down and told me, it's like, I was way better at football than I was baseball. And I was like, and Willie's now in his 80s, and I was like, Willie, what do you mean? Why didn't you play football? He's like, because you can only play for a certain amount of time, and I can play forever in baseball. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. It makes sense. And so you take those aspects of those guys all being different, and then you have the bodybuilder competitors, and then the female competitors, and then just regular people in the gym. So I have the microcosm is crazy because you know how it is in the gym sometimes. Especially in our gym, right? Somebody gets started and somebody's talking, and all of a sudden the entire gym is in on whether whether LeBron James is the best or Michael Jordan. We haven't had that conversation, or lately it's been a Trump Biden conversation. Like, we're having crazy things, and we've got far right Republicans that are in the gym, and we got far left liberals that are in the gym at the same time going. And it's a safe space because. We don't allow. I did a podcast with myself and a couple of another friend of mine, and then two extreme conservatives, extreme, like far right, and people who watched the thing were like, "Man, you should have went harder on them and did all this stuff, and y'all should have been yelling." Basically, they wanted us to have like a fight on.
Love the hip hop.
Right. Yeah, right. They wanted us to have this huge fight. Because we have differences in ideas, right? We have differences in ideas. We're all Americans. First of all, the whole point is this experiment in America is to be a more perfect union, right? We want to be a more perfect union. We're not going to be perfect, but we're just trying to get better every day, And so the reasons why we're able to have these conversations are because we have years of friendship before we've decided to be, liberals and conservatives. I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican. I'm independent. I try to think for myself at all times and decide which way is the best way forward. But when I have conversations with people who can't see the legit um, problems that we have in our society, and we differ, that's where the conversation has to change a bit, And so, but luckily, we are in a place like in the gym. It's a safe zone because there's an underlying thing of friendship. And I think in the United States, if we can make that a microcosm, what we have to look at is there's an underlying thing that we're all Americans. The underlying thing is we're all Americans, and we have to figure out how to fix this problem without dividing the country without making it so divisive that you're not a person and I'm not a person. We're both people. We just want slightly different things. And the vast majority of Americans want the same thing. We want to be able to take care of our families. We want to be able to go and do things as we please. The pursuit of happiness, all those things. I mean, I want to be able to live and be healthy, have clean air to breathe.
Oh, I think we got a little mix up. He's coming back.
Yeah. We had my phone. How do I get out of that thing?
Oops.
Oh man. How do I do this? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you for sure.
All right, good. I don't know how to get my cam. Man, this newfangled stuff. Hold on.
Oh yeah. But I think you're absolutely right in the respect that it just proves that even in the gym, no matter what opinions may differ, that at the end of the day, friendship outlasts those opinions from the fact that you can always come together at the end of the day because you're friends first. And it only shows that, yeah, it only proves that it's not all bad apples out there. If anything, it just really shows that it's not everybody. Not everybody is the problem. There are some people that are very grimy, but it's not the total issue. So
Right.
and training just shows and highlights that even more is that yeah, you may be a far right or a far left or whatever wing you decide to take, but you working out, you sweating, you getting after it, you trying to reach the particular gains and goals that you go to the gym for like the next person. And that's something that means more than just what opinions you may have on politics.
100%. 100%. Now, if you could help me, coach me through this thing on my phone. Somebody called me. Somebody called me, and I don't know how to work this newfangled thing. I don't know how to get back to the camera.
Look for the
It says Mike, and then Cam, and then Cam Mike, and all the chat.
go to Cam. See what that's talking about. It should put you back on it.
And it doesn't do anything. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Remove from stream. Nope. That doesn't work either. My phone rang. My phone rang in the middle of this thing. And and then it won't go back from there. Man, it hurt me. Well, that was fun.
Here, let me try to let me see. We're gonna try to get you to swipe up. All right, see if you can swipe up. We're gonna get you back live. No
if I
problem.
remove myself from the stream, can you add me back to the stream?
Yes, we can do that.
All right, hold on. Let me try.
We're gonna get our guy back on. But we dived into it. Absolutely right. I mean, drop a comment in the section, talk about, it's truly proven that it's not a black and white thing. At the end of the day, it's a lot more that goes into it. I think the racial divide is the distraction that they want you to focus on. It's very important to realize that there's no such thing as everything and always. Right? It's not everybody, it's not everything, it's not every situation. It's definitely particular people in those groups, there's particular people in every group that are bad apples, and those are the ones that we have to focus on. Getting our guy back on. Yes, sir. Okay, we like it. And
oh man, I'm sorry.
We like it. But speaking, like you said, on the fact that the gym just shows that coming together is definitely possible no matter what you look like, because there's some underlying goal that everybody's trying to reach that is somehow the same.
Truth. And that's the point that I was saying about, the microcosm of America. We really are trying to figure out a way for us all to be in a place where it is is beneficial for us, for our growth, as Americans. It's at some point. I mean, we're not going to have another civil war, and that's the whole point. Everybody's like, there's people like, oh, it's going to get crazy. Well, no, that's not going to happen. We got to get to a place where we're going to be able to agree to disagree in certain places, and then create some change. Who would have thought? Who would have thought in my lifetime would I ever seen that the Mississippi state flag change? What? They took down the name of the Washington Redskins. It's no longer the Washington football team. I don't know what to call them, right? You know what I'm saying? It's changed. So stuff is changing. And it looks like it's small and symbolic, but it's still something. It's still something. So those things are moving forward. And once we get out of this, where everybody's staying at home, once we get out of this pandemic, it's going to be, even better.
Now, getting into the pandemic and how it's affecting sports, as you can see, a lot of college football teams have decided to drop out this year. You got some teams that are in conferences that are still continuing to push. How does this change your training schedule as opposed to guys that you usually wouldn't have that are still hanging around that have a whole nother season almost to get ready for a potential football season?
Yeah, so it's difficult for a lot of kids. So I'm also the strength coach for the Phoenix College volleyball team here. And so their schedule has completely changed, and they won't have a new schedule till they're missing all the fall sports until next year. And so that schedule is crazy. What I always try to figure out is the hardest part is on the high school senior. What about the high school senior who didn't have a great junior year, who worked his butt off all summer to get ready? So his senior year would be the year he shines, so he can get all these calls, and now he's not going to get any. It's easy if you talk about college kids having another year eligibility. You can throw them another year eligibility and they'll be able to play. But then the backlog that creates, what about the kid who's only coming because they want to be able to play because the next guy is leaving and now that guy doesn't leave? There are a lot of things that we wouldn't think about in the backlog when it comes to athletes. And I know it's insensitive to the rest of America when you talk about, there's a real problem with the virus that's going on, but eventually people are going to have to live their lives, and at some point,
yeah, people got to live their lives eventually.
Yeah, that's it. At some point they're going to have to live their lives, and I could see. And here's where I sound really callous, right? I could see if we were going to, they told you that the virus was going to be gone, eradicated, and it was no longer going to be here, and it was gone, then I could stay home for 6 months. I could stay home for 6 months. I wouldn't go outside. I'd call Uber all the time, and the Uber Eats or whatever, and have them deliver my food. I haven't seen my mom. I see my mom maybe 6 times since February and she lives downstairs from me. I got her a condo down here, so she'd be close to me. She's got pre-existing conditions. So I keep her locked away in the house. She's been in jail basically for 6 months, and I get it. I get it because I don't want her to be in any harm. But at the same time, so I would have went to jail for 6 months if they said it can go away. But it's going to always be here, right? It's always going to be here. So we have to either learn with ways to live, dealing with the virus at the same time, so we can get some sort of herd immunity or something of that sort, or we're going to be like this forever. It doesn't make any sense. And so when you've got all those things to take into account, there's it's a lot. I mean, it's not a very easy conversation to have with people because realistically something's got to change, and I feel for those kids that really want to play. The kids in Nebraska who are like, hey, look, I don't care what's happening, we want to play.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. That's all we got. And then you got the whole SEC was like, I don't care what you say, we play.
Yeah, SEC was like, you gotta blow us up before we do it.
SEC and the ACC both. Notre Dame was looking for a spot to play everybody's. There's some people who are just in it because look, we're gonna have to live with it at some point. And the deaths are devastating and they are real. But I don't mean to sound callous, but people die every day. People die every day, and that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop. You have to find a way for people to be able to live. The whole point is, how can we help people live better? And if we have to go on to, wearing masks, every day or whatever that thing is, like I do in China all the time. And I guess that's what we got to do, But we have to get back to some sort of normal way of living, or the virus wins.
Now, does that hurt like your business? Are you going around constantly wiping stuff down and wiping equipment down and telling people to or is it kind of like, I see y'all every day, so I'm pretty sure y'all good. just just
No,
stay awake.
we are super diligent about wiping everything down all day. So I got spray bottles and stuff everywhere. It's cost me so much money. I had these steam cleaners who come in and clean the steam stuff with all the thing. I got everything you can possibly imagine when it comes to cleaning stuff. And then every client that I have now becomes their own maid. So they are at every station that they finish. When they finish, they wipe everything down. Like in the middle of sets, which is weird, right? So in the middle of the set, normally if you have, you've been in the gym your whole life, you with your boys. I don't know if your regular people know this about football players, but and during workouts at all, before all this happened, there are no towels. Nobody's wiping nothing down. The next person's up. It's your setup. Let's get in here and get it. Nobody cares. Like, we don't care. It's sweat. We lift. We're in here for this grind. And now there is you push. You done? Cool, you done? Hold on.
Yeah.
And so that is the funniest thing, So you have to, we're wiping the mats down. We wipe everything down constantly, I make the very first thing you do when you come in the gym now, you have to come in and wash your hands. Yes. Wash your hands. First, everybody comes in and wash your hands, and then now you're inside of a sterile environment and your hands are already washed. And you came in with your mask on, and then
you good.
It's crazy. It's the weirdest thing is to try to watch people do cardio with a mask on. That's hopefully this thing, like I said, it'll blow over sometime soon, and we can get back to to old school lifting,
And it's crazy too, because now social media is becoming such a big thing. You're seeing so many people becoming trainers, particularly athletes becoming trainers in their own respect. And you're not a very social media driven guy, but you've always been able to have a lot of clientele. You have a lot of skin in the game. What has kind of been your strategy through this whole soaring rise of athletic trainers popping up everywhere?
So, funny you say that. Because we were just talking. So I got a PR team that just is trying to take my whole new image over, right? Yeah. And they're like, you have done. Oh my God! They would sit down and look at all the athletes that I've trained before, and it's a who's who of of athletes, and they're like, oh my God, you did this and this and this. This should be a breeze. Why don't you have 100, 500,000 followers? And I was like, I don't do the social media stuff really. That's not my thing. I never have. I'm not very savvy with this thing. I laugh because I mentor trainers across the country, ex athletes of mine, guys who I trained, who I brought up in the game, and now they're out training, and it's awesome. I'm watching them flourish is fantastic because I know a lot of them know what they're doing. I look at the culture of training as a whole now slightly different than I used to, because now if you are a guy who's just genetically gifted, you're blessed. Guys, there are guys who look like Tarzan, play like Jane, who were just freaking nature. They look the part, they look everything. They're strong, but can't play football at all. That's the same way I equate that to the new trainers that are in this whole thing. There are girls who were born and blessed with a great butt, and so they were blessed with a butt, and they didn't build their butt. They were blessed with it. Now, it's different. There are some girls who built their butt, and that's awesome. But the girls who were blessed with a butt, who were already thin and blessed with a butt, or are athletic, and then now they're trainers on the thing and be like, I can tell you how to build this butt. And God gave you that butt, girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like Shaq going out and teaching people how to be tall.
How to be Shaq.
I'm gonna teach you how to be tall. And that I don't knock it, because it's become marketing. If you can market well and you're good at what you do marketing wise, then why not take advantage of it? God bless you with a great butt, and you can market your butt, and girls want to train with you because you got a great butt. Do it. I get it. It's just a knowledge base that you have to be able to handle that girl with a great butt, or butt questions, and guys who are trying to build pecs, that whole thing. But what I will say about them, a lot of them stay in their lane. They come in and they stay in their lane. But like, all right, all I know is I'm gonna do butt exercises because that's all girls care about right now. Or or they go with weight loss, which is really just controlling the hole in your face. If you can control the hole in your face and you don't have any problems with thyroid problems or any of those things like that, and you eat less, people never ask you, oh man, you got your hair cut. How do you do that? They use, clippers or scissors or whatever. That's pretty much it. It's like you wait. I can guarantee you, the person who lost weight, there's no medical ailments of any sort. They ate less. They ate less and worked out more. Pretty much it. It's a simple thing. And so getting into the minutia of all these new clients and all these new people. The only reason why I'll be able to be successful is because I used to tell people all the time, if you do a really good job with an athlete or with your client, you do a really good job, they will tell two people. Those two people, they'll tell two people. You do a bad job, they will tell everybody they know. They'll tell everybody they know. Everybody. So luckily, I've done a good job. So the negative isn't out there at all. And the two people tell two people who tell two people. And that's kind of, how I've been moving around.
And that's definitely a progress thing. Nowadays people are so instant gratification built where it's like, if we're going to do this, we got to have 50 people come out tomorrow, where you've taken a longer approach, which is giving you a lot of years in the game. And one thing that's big that I've seen you have with all your clientele, especially the type of your clientele, is the trust factor. How, as a trainer, do you go about developing that when you have, like you said, so many people coming at them about the newest butt exercise or the newest thing, the weight loss, or just these flashy guys that have been there, done that, and trainers, like these girls that are just instant celebrities that now they just want to start training? How does the trust factor work?
Well, some of that is due to guys like you. All right. So I had a kid comes out, they fly from South Dakota. Augustin Reed, they fly in. He plays basketball, right? And so him and his dad, they all come in. They are and his brother Harry, they come in to train. So when you walk in a place, you're in the gym. My gym is not very big. It's a dungeon. We work hard. Deal. It's credibility. Some of that is just the names that are on the wall. They walked up and said, "Oh my God, that's Malik Zaire." This is a true story. Sounds crazy, right? So I meant to call you and say this. And they're like, they are huge Notre Dame fans. Huge Notre Dame fans. They are just like, and they were like, "Oh my God, you train Malik?" I was like, "Yeah, I train Malik. He's like awesome guy." And like we went, in this conversation, and they had already decided to train with me. But things like that, the athletes that I've had in the past, when you have over 250 NFL guys, you can lean on. To reach out and call somebody, and they say, "Oh, that guy is the deal." That guy has done that. And you got over 200 MLB guys, and I have countless, NCAA All-Americans, high school kids. I've got people that I've been doing this, and I've also have the luxury to have been doing this for a really long time. You know what I mean? So I've got people who I trained them, and now I'm training their kids. So that's the funny part. So it's just being in the game long enough, trying to do quality work at the time that I'm there, and then people trusting me enough to send their friends and family to me.
Now, being in it so long, how do you see carving yourself out and evolving through that time? Like, is it through maybe new workouts, or is it like what's kind of your niche? Because like I see so much, there's a lot of come and go with the training. There's more phases that people go through, but you having years of experience within the game, what's that evolution like for you? Because you already proved that you can train NFL and professional athletes and top trainers and whatever the case is. You already proved that. So what is that evolution for you like?
So it was it's crazy because I've done a lot of cutting edge research and design of my programming. Right, I've been doing it a long time. So a lot of people who come from my coaching tree have the benefit of years and years of me performing experiments on athletes, basically. So I did that for a really long time. So what I found out is that we're getting bigger, stronger, and faster as we go. But the body it responds to stimuli differently based on kind of who you are.
Oops, a little cutting out.
Okay, so the gimmicks that come up every now and then, right? There's a new fad. I watched the CrossFit wave come, right? The CrossFit wave.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I remember that.
And everybody was like, "Why don't you get the CrossFit?" And I'm like, one, I understand that it's CrossFit is nothing but lifting like we've always lifted. It's Olympic lifts. It's just time under tension. And I was like, it just doesn't seem very safe. And then, 10 years later, they're like, oh my God, it's the worst. It's horrible for you because it's not very safe because, all these different factors, which is what I thought in the beginning. Being able to being around as long as I have, and the gambit of different types of athletes and people that I've trained from the top to the bottom, has given me perspective on allowing people to be themselves. I can't make everybody Barry Bonds. I can't make everybody Malik Zaire. I have to make you the best you that you can possibly be. And then that personal assessment that we have separates me from everybody else. Most people put them in, and I can make you this and I can do that. And the truth is,
Yeah, that's the selling point.
right. The truth is, you really can't. I can make you the best you that you can be, and we're going to exceed all the expectations you have set for yourself. We can do that if we work hard, but I can't make you Shaq. You're not going to grow 7 inches when you're here. So those things. I'm very realistic about my approach. I know what I can do and what I can't do. I used to believe that with you put your mind to it, you can do anything, right? You can do anything. And then I realized that has some parameters, right? That has some parameters. I'm not going to be able to jump from this seat right here up through my roof and land on top of Camelback Mountain. That's not gonna be able to happen. No matter how much I try and jump, it's not gonna happen. So I think that people have to have realistic goals. I want you to, set a realistic goal that you think for yourself, and then times it by 10. And now let's see what's up, and then we'll shoot for that thing. And that's kind of how I built my practice. And I think that it shows for itself. Because other people will go other places. I've got people who have decided to go train somewhere else, and then when they come back, they go, "Oh man, I thought that." Yeah, I know. You thought.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I've also gotten to a place where I get into conversations with other trainers about philosophy because we have different philosophies. I believe one way and you believe another way. So you think it's faster that way, or I think it's faster this way. So let's just I will agree to disagree, and then my cats run faster than your cats every time we do it because I'm right.
Right, because I know what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Now, where do these guys go wrong? If you're an inspiring athlete like myself, and
right.
and that is getting into the training game, and you try to separate yourself from such a saturated field, where do most people go wrong when they go about this training side of things?
Okay, so I can let's talk for the different types of people. Ex-athletes, right? Ex-athletes getting in the training game. I think that the smartest thing to do is to start in your wheelhouse, right? Start in what you know. Not only that, but partner up with somebody who you trust, and get a mentor, because they'll help you. They'll see things you didn't see. When I first started, my mentor's a guy by the name of Bruce Frankie, and not a lot of people know him. He trained Carl Lewis. He trained Ralph Sampson. Like this is nobody knows who Ralph Sampson is nowadays, but like way back. And he has forgotten more about sprinting than most people would ever know. And so I got with him and studied underneath him for almost 8 years. 8 years I was with him straight, and learning programming. And the best part about Coach was he not only did he get to a point probably about year 4 of being with him 5 days a week, 5 days a week. But year 4, I started to see things like he saw them at all times. It's different. Oh, I can see that, and now I can see it, and it's difficult. Like I could bring somebody on. Like I have interns and people who I've trained that are out now doing their own thing, right? And I'll be watching them train a class or watching them with an athlete, and then I'll lean over to them because I never go to their athlete, and I don't want to embarrass them. Your dad's not going to show up at your kinder school and tell you, hey, 8 + 8 is 16. It's not 17. You know what I mean? Don't do me like that. So I wait until there's a time they're not away from their client. I go, hey, what do you see? What's the reasoning that you have them doing this? Or what's the reasoning that you have that you didn't say anything to her about this? Is there something else? Because then I may be wrong. Maybe something they learned that I don't know, right? Oh, that person may have an ailment that I'm not aware of, right? But I'm just seeing it from the outside. That's what happens a lot. That you pick some people pick mentors who don't know how to mentor, right? Who don't know how to help you be better, right? So then it becomes a combative situation where it's my way or your way and all those different things, and so people don't want to go into that deal. So it takes a little bit of time for you to really think about the people who you want to align yourself with when you get into this business, right? And then study, become a sponge of knowledge. It's like being a football coach. You may start off as a quarterback coach because that's what you know. You go in, you start quarterbacks, and then somehow the head coach goes, "All right, I need you on the offensive line." You're like, "What? I ain't never blocked nobody my whole life. Like, I've never done that. I know how to block, kinda, but I don't know really at the punch. I don't really know, all those things. And then you have to become a student of the game, and then learn that so you can teach it to somebody else. All these great coaches in the NFL, not of them all played the same position. You know what I mean? That's not it. Eric Bieniemy is a great offensive caller, right? At Kansas City, but he played running back, right? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't an offensive coordinator. He played running back, and then it's just, you'll grow, you'll learn, and these things that you'll be able to get, and you'll be able to add them to your toolbox as you go. And the longer amount of time, there's not a coincidence that most of the coaches that are really, really good in this game have either been in football, using football, basketball, almost all coaches, right? Almost all coaches. They're either been in it for a really, really long time. Bill Belichick is in his 70s, right?
Yeah.
He's in his 70s. Most of the really good coaches are older, or they're really young with coaching dads, where they've been around it their entire life. Shanahan, all these guys now came up in the game, and they started really, really early because they knew they were going to coach. Really early. Now they're at 19 in meetings and on fields trying to learn this business. And I'm sure that their father sent them to special teams. They're special teams for a while. They're going to move to here. And they move them around so they learn all aspects of the organization and how that works. And then they were able to come up. And now it was kind of seamless for them when they first get their head coaching job, because they've spent enough time learning from someone on how to do it. So the transition isn't difficult, but it's more work than you think it is if you want to be good. If you want to be good, there's also a way you can do it and be lucky and be really lucky. That's it. Like, you can be really lucky, be really attractive, have a great butt, and have 100,000 followers, and 100,000 followers can go to 500,000 followers really fast, and there you go, girl. And now you are, Queen Boo, walking around with a thing and getting all these endorsement deals, which is hard for me. Now I'm working backwards. I'm the backwards worker now. So now,
yeah, does that frustrate you? It's like, okay, these girls that with the right following can just post a couple great butt videos, or a guy that's already famous got a couple videos he could just post, and now he's making endorsement money that, at a time was something that was huge for you, even probably still today.
Right. I also think it's awesome. I mean, it sucks. It sucks. But it's awesome. I used to model before I got this, I used to have a washing board. I started making money. I bought a washing machine. I got this washing machine. But when I was younger, it was easy. I walked up the football field and into a modeling, did the shoot, because I was already working out and I was already ripped for that. So it's the perception of that and what it looked like would be awesome. So if you get a guy who is already really fit because he just stepped off the field, he looks like he works out all the time because he does work out all the time. And so now it's easy. Now, does he know what he's doing? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We don't know. That's to be determined. You'll figure that out once you're into place. And if he's got any sort of mouthpiece, he can make a bunch of money. So it's a game for people who can sell. Like, if you can't sell, face to face in this thing, and I'm only talking about brick and mortar stuff, right? I'm not talking about where most people are making money. Most people make money. What you're doing, it's digital space. This digital space is wide open, and it's a mind-blowing thing for someone who's come from the dinosaur age, trying to bring the intensity and what we do to the virtual
digital space. Yeah.
Yeah, right. How am I gonna do that? Like, try to explain what it's like to be inside of levels and bring that, put it in your home. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
It's not the same culture. It's just
not the same culture. Not the same culture. So you don't get the steel sharpening steel. You don't get all those things about being in the same place. But you also don't have to pay the price for being inside of levels. You could be there and paying. I don't know what my price is going to be at some point. Whatever. I don't know if it's going to be $9.99 or $99 a month. Well, I don't know what it's going to be, right? But you could be in China now getting some sort of variation of that workout, which is a little watered down because you're away
not in the gym.
Right. You're away from the facility, but it's something, and that adds a revenue stream for me that I never had before. Like, it's reaching out, so I can't knock the kids who are getting that revenue stream right off the bat because they showed up at the right time. They showed up at the right time and the right thing.
Right time.
That's it. And then God bless them. Look, I think that I try to you and I had these conversations, and I said, man, you are missing your calling. This is what you are made to do. You are so good at it. You are so good at it. And it's just because you were so good at football and the transition was so difficult, to try to finally hang the cleats up, right? To hanging the cleats up, and mine was torn from me, right? I had to. Car accident, whatever thing. Yours was opportunity-wise, right? Gets jacked up in the opportunity. And so when you think about things like that, and you're like, man, you don't know that the God has opened the door for you. It's something that you're special. You're uniquely gifted and been able to do super seamlessly. Like, really, once you made your mind up, it was like, oh man, I got this thing, and next thing you know, your infectious personality is all over the internet, and you're doing it, bro. And I'm so proud of you. So there are things that just it permeates. I mean, the light just shines out of you. Light just shines out of you. People pick up on it, and that's why you are being successful at what you're doing right now.
And that's important, man. And that's something I've always noticed from you as well, is especially when you tell these stories. Like, people would think that it is the lucky thing that you kind of caught on to when you tell the story of Barry Bonds. You've had so many athletes and people throughout your career, and Barry Bonds is on the list, and a lot of things that you guys have shared together. And what was that relationship like, and how did it start? And I mean, that's an impactful figure in not only baseball but sports history.
Yeah, B is an incredible human being, right? An incredible human being. I mean, once history gets out further away from the situation, it's gonna be even more impactful. More impactful later. He is, I lucked out. I shouldn't say I lucked out because I was prepared, right? Ultimately,
he's
ultimately I was prepared, right? So ultimately I was prepared. I was ready to be lifted into that place. I'll tell it. So once again, I was talking to God, right? The time I was doing all the performance work for a guy by the name of Brett Fisher. So I was an independent contractor at the place that used to be called Fisher Sports. Now it's the Fisher Institute. Give him Brett a plug. Look at that. There you go. So anyway, I was walking around. I was living with one of my former athletes. Zach Walls, from linebacker from the Cardinals, and he was out of town, and I was walking around in his house. I lived in another wing, but I was walking around, and I was standing in his bathroom, just looking, at the bathroom and how spacious it was, and I was talking to God, and I said, God, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever's coming next. Whatever's coming next, I'm ready. I would like to have this. Zach came home, and I was like, look, in a year, I want to buy your house from you, and you buy a new house. And he's like, all right, cool. He didn't think anything of it. He was like, all right, cool. Great. So that was on Wednesday. Thursday, I get a phone call from Brett. Brett calls me and says, hey, the Giants want you to come down. They want you to train Barry Bonds. And I said, oh. So first of all, the first thing he said was, how much do you love me? I said, I love you, Brett. He goes, no, how much do you love me? I go, Brett, I love you. He's like, the Giants want you to come down and train Barry Bonds. So I said, all right. He goes, get your resume together, get down there, shoot him over. So I put my resume together, shoot down. It's the last 10 days of spring training. So I go, get my resume, boom. Stan Conti at the time, who is now, I think Stan's with, he was the head trainer for the Giants at the time. Stan does an interview. Very great. Listen, we're going to bring you on contract. You'll be here with us for the last 10 days. Be responsible for kind of a conditioning portion before training, before thing starts, and then you set up a separate time to go train with Barry. And if any of the other guys want to train with you, you'll be available for them as well. And I said, all right, great. So I go, I meet Barry, we train. I bust his ass. It was awesome. But he's
wait, hold on, he busted his ass. He was
bust his ass, right? So he was like, that's pretty good work because he plays baseball, right? At the time, there were no strength coaches. There was like 3 strength coaches inside of baseball at the time. So he had come from a place where he'd never trained. So I trained Barry like more of a football player because he's got that mentality. Barry, he's a dog. So he really liked it. And then the team, the things I do with the team aspect, they really liked it. Everything was working out great. And it was the last day before we were leaving spring training. And Stan Conti said, hey, what will it take for you to come to San Francisco? And I'm like, because I called Brent. I'm like, Brent, what do? I didn't plan on this. I planned on being 10 days. I got a business here in Arizona. You want me to pack up and move to San Francisco? You know? And so, and then I did. And then Barry's and I relationship just got more and more special and closer over the course of, that deal. And then by the time by the time he's got ready to chase to break the record, he asked me to leave the team and just be with him personally and do that thing. And he's just the hardest working athlete I've ever trained ever. He is a guy that you write a grueling. Oh, I tell you a story. So all right, so I
yeah, you gotta explain this.
Yeah. So we go to so every year in the offseason, Barry goes to the Bahamas. He's got a house in the Bahamas. So he's like, after my first year with the Giants, he's like, hey, I'll pay you to come train with me in the offseason. And I was like, all right, bet, cool. So now I'm going back and forth. I used to fly to LA, train them and fly back, fly up for the week and then come back here. And so I had somebody else running my classes, all the kind of stuff that was going on at the time. So anyway, we go to the Bahamas, right? It's our first, we get there on the weekend. It's the first Monday. We train 6 a.m. We're leaving the house. He said, we're leaving the house at 6 a.m. I was like, all right, cool. I got up 4:30, finish up, make sure the workout I have is written right. It's all good. Go downstairs. The maid, the chef has got breakfast. I ate breakfast at like 5. I'm sitting there waiting and just sitting there, just, kicking and waiting for Barry to come down. At about 5:40, I had to go to the bathroom. So get up, go out, go upstairs, go to the bathroom, finish the bathroom, and I'm washing my hands, and I look out the window, and I see Barry driving out the gate. So I was like, oh my God, shit. So fuck now, mind you, this is literally, it's like we're starting, our to get the push for our off-season programming. So I run downstairs, I run outside, like I'm probably 20 yards behind the car, waving my arms like, yo. Still going. So I'm like, all right, cool. So it takes a look. I was like, there's a turn, I know. So I'm gonna jump across the golf course, sprint across the golf course. I'm running, sprint across the golf course. I get to the front gate and he's just gone. So I run. So I ran 8 miles, right? 8 miles. The Gold's Gym in the Bahamas, his house is like on Paradise Island, whatever. We had to go drive off of the island, go up this long bridge, whatever. It's 8 miles away. I ran 8 miles to the Gold's Gym. I get there. I'm dead tired, right? I'm like, man, all right. I get there. He's finished working out. He's done.
Already done working out.
He worked out. He did his own workout, right? Did his own workout. And he's like, hey, glad you made it. I was like, well, he's like, if you hadn't made it, I'd have fired you. What? I told you who'll be at the gym at 6. And I was like, I got up at 4:30. I got up at 4:30. All right, cool. So anyway, so we drive back, finish the day. It's cool. So the next day, I waited. I sat, I ready to go. Nothing great, but I wrote the most grueling back workout. It was the most grueling back workout that I had written to that date. Right, it was grueling. So I was like, oh, you're gonna make me run 8 miles. Don't give the trainer a chance to do what he does on a thing. I got something for you. Right? So boom, in the middle of the workout. And I'm like, oh, now we're here. Let's go. Boom, let's go. Move. Right? I got him with this whole thing. Hour and a half of the workout, and it's over. He sits down, he's like, he was breathing a little, it wasn't heavy, but it was like, he said, pretty good workout. Right? And I said, pretty good. I go, why don't you jump up and do 25 pull-ups then? Right? He popped up and pop, knocked it out with nothing. Drop down. And I went, oh, okay. I got something.
You different.
I realized that people who you meet like that, people who are on another level of thing, help you step your game up, right? Yeah. It was what I thought was like the best boom workout that was pretty good to him. You know what I mean?
It was pretty good.
That was pretty good. I was like, I'd have killed anybody else. I'd have killed somebody, And he's like, that was pretty good. And so it forced me to take my game up. And that relationship to this day is, one that I cherish. And it's something, him, Alex Rodriguez, Pablo Sandoval, like there's guys who taught me more about myself as a trainer than I knew, right? I didn't know I had as much patience as it took to deal with Pablo. Like Pablo did the most amazing thing I've ever seen an athlete do, ever.
Pablo Sandoval,
the Panda, right? So Pablo's had a problem with his weight. Tommy had a problem with his weight, and we were trying to get him whittled down, right? So whittled him down. We started working out in November. He's probably lost, at the time, maybe 15, 20 pounds. So we're on our way. And we have until like February 10th, right? February 10th we have. So I'm like, I'm way ahead of schedule. We're going to be fine. It's going to be awesome. Pablo went home to Venezuela for 4 days. 4 days. He gained 35 pounds in 4 days. 4 days. 4 days. I've never seen that happen before in my life. 4 days. He gained 35 pounds in 4 days. And I was like, how does that, what, all the work we just did, how does that happen? Like, what are you doing? And so, we ended up getting it all back off, and he made it, and then
35 pounds.
What in 4 days, bro?
What did he say? He just like,
he loves food. He just loves it. He loves it, and he drank a bit too. It's a good time. But he ended up, whittling away, and we ended up winning 3 World Series and a World Series MVP. So it was worth it. It's worth it. We had a good time. It's a good kid.
Now, a quick side note though, you have different training methods. Like you don't mind athletes going out, having a good time, doing what they do because it's like you see it a little differently than other people would suggest.
I do. Only because I played. And I was, a soar with the Owls and soar with the Eagles kind of guy. That's it. I was out at night and I got up in the morning and got the work done. I go, look, ultimately, this is how I take it for my athletes and my regular people as well. There's a time and a place for everything. You just kind of have to know where you're at. If you go to the White House, you're not going to go in a thong bikini. Right? You're not going to go in a thong bikini. Pop up. You're not shaking at the White House. You may do that at a pool party somewhere else, but you have to know where you're at. And you also have to know what your goals are. If your goals are to, win a championship and this is now championship week and you're there to deal, there's no reason for you to be at the strip club till 4:30 in the morning. Do you know what I mean? You have to know kind of where you are. Same thing I tell people who are just regular people trying to lose weight. Look, you're trying to lose weight so you can enjoy your life. I don't want you to eat a cracker every day for the rest of your life because that's not going to be enjoyable. How are you going to have this great body and and then you go to Tulum and on the beach and now you can't eat because you want to keep this great body? There's got to be some sort of balance. And so while you're in it, there's got to be some sort of balance. Look, have a good time. I have athletes who don't drink at all during the season. I have athletes that drink during the season, but they know themselves. They know themselves and their balance. So once you finally figure out kind of who you are and what works best for you, then you can kind of walk that fine line of risk versus reward, and pleasure and pain. That's pretty much it. You got to figure out what you're willing to go through to be able to get it. I got guys who know, like, look, I don't care, coach. I'm gonna be out tonight. I'm going to the club tonight. I'll be there. I go, cool, but you do know at 6 a.m. we're gonna be on this mountain tomorrow at 6 a.m. So I don't want to hear none of this, all that stuff. Better really go. And those guys have a dog mentality because they're gonna be out and they're chasing whatever they're gonna chase tonight, and they get to the mountain and they perform. It's not there. Some of them, some of them lay down at the same time. I've seen that before. But that was just those guys. So.
And that's true, man. You get a lot of guys, because you really can't control athletes. It's one of the hardest people to really try to maintain throughout the training process, because they're so wildfire. They like to do. We like what we like. And but like, you've also seen a variety of athletes, dating from kids to guys like Barry Bonds. But what is it about those athletes like Barry Bonds that makes him different, that you've seen that, like you said, raise your game? But what is somebody and an athlete of a caliber like that, as opposed to the common man that level is missing?
So the difference between Alex, Barry, Terrell, Suggs, Alex Rodriguez, Terrell Suggs, like guys who are on that level of competitiveness, right? It's Gary Sheffield. There's guys who are at the level of competitiveness where they have decided they're mentally tough and they work really, really hard when it's time to work. I mean, when it's time to work, they work really, really hard. They put their body first. So, for instance, they will decide, all right, cool. All those people I think all have their own guys, right? They all have their own guys. I've been their guy at certain points in their career. So they pick a thing. I'm going to make sure I eat right. I'm going to make sure I sleep right. I'm going to make sure I get all these things. My body's taken care of. I have masseuse. I have all these things that are going to be great. So you never think about, but you never think about a real athlete at the top of their game. If you take a guy who makes $20 million a year, right? $20 million a year. LeBron James. I will do that. I think LeBron spent like $1 million a year on his body himself, which is all write-off, right? If you think about it, if you could take 10% of your salary and pay somebody, or 50% of your salary and pay somebody to do what it takes for you to keep maintaining what you do, and that makes sense. And all those guys put money back into their bodies. They always do. And it's their bodies first. They eat, they get a great chef, or they get a great nutritionist. They eat right, they get a great workout guy, a masseuse, a hyperbaric chamber, the things that are gonna make you live and play longer. Tom Brady's got his guy. I think he's got $1 million a year as well. Like, there's somebody that hey, I'm signing this $20 million, but it's really 19 because $1 million got to go there, because to keep me right, I need this guy in my corner, right? It's just every boxer has got a great trainer and a great cut man. They have a team. They put their team together and make sure they excel. And so, regardless of the level you're at, how much money you do make, you have to figure out what you can afford to put your own team together. Hodgepodge your team, and so that way you can build from there with your team. And that's who's going to have your back this entire time. You find somebody that fits into your fold, and then as you grow, you keep your team together. And that's pretty much it.
Absolutely, man.
Because they all work extremely hard. They all work extremely hard. Every athlete works hard. I say that. Every athlete works hard to the best of their ability. But some of them take it to a different level because they are willing to put a little bit of skin in the game to make sure they work even harder. That people hold them accountable for their greatness.
That's absolutely right, man. It's just a different mindset. A lot of people don't think things are possible until it's done, but those people that are like those phenomenal athletes believe it can be done. So it's crazy that you've been able to have so much skin in the game and seeing a variety of athletes throughout your time, men and women, both professional, non-professional. And the fact that you've been able to stay in it for so long and stay strong within it and how it evolves through it just shows the testament to the type of guy you are. And a couple more questions. What is the last thing and something that is a goal for you now, having so much experience through what you've been through?
My new goals. My new goals are to be able to help the community as a whole. That's a new push that I hadn't had prior. You know, I hadn't had this social activist thing that's happening all over the United States right now. I've always been a community person. I didn't realize that until late, you know, when the mayor had to come out and, you know, kind of march for the Black Lives Matter movement here in Scottsdale. I didn't realize, you know, that my voice was needed. You know, I didn't realize that. It may not have. It's funny. People look at your followers now and decide if you got 100,000 followers or, you know, whatever. I have a ton of followers. I got 5,000 people in my phone. You know what I mean? Like it's the difference in the relationships that I've had over the course of my life. I've coveted my friendships. I've covered my relationships. So the impact that I've been able to have for people has been much more far-reaching than it looks like on social media. You know, so which is because I always thought social media was a joke for a really long time until probably about, I really want to say maybe about 3 years ago, when I realized that it's really a tool for people to be able to reach out and keep in touch with each other and those things. I didn't realize it was that impactful, and now I've made that realization. And so now hopefully I'll be able to use my the years that I had and do what I've done just being on this earth to be able to help people now and young kids coming up. You know, to be able to impart upon the importance of, you know, just being kind. You know, being kind and trying to be empathetic with people who are walking around you, because not everybody has lived your life. You know, we have a tendency to automatically assume that everybody knows. So I got married, right? And I thought this entire time that all of the people on the planet knew the Black person's plight in America, the struggle we've had, right? I thought everybody knew the struggle. I thought everybody knew the struggle and just didn't care. Like, they just weren't like, you don't see this. Like, we saw Rodney King, you seen this, you seen this, you seen this. And I thought they saw it and didn't care. And what I realized is my marriage, my life was like, I just never knew. There's this and there's this. We watched the movie The Help, and she was like, that was in the 20s. I was like, no, baby, no, that wasn't in the 20s. That was in the 60s. Like, that's my mom, my grandma. That was happening. That's happening in my time. Like, Rodney King beating was this. George Floyd just happened yesterday. So it's like, I mean, like, these things have been happening for a really long time, and the awakening, mass awakening that's happening right now, has been coming a long time. It's finally here, and I say that because social media has a lot to do with that. And so now, knowing that, I am going to try to use my platform. We talked about earlier. Try to use my platform, not only help people, you know, physically and mentally, but emotionally, to be able to help bridge the gap. Because I think there's a lot of divide, and there's still America. So there's a bridge that has to be made somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle, there's got to be a bridge made so we can move forward. You know, so that's my new thing.
Absolutely, man. That's definitely the right path to take, because at this point, that is the only option. It feels like we're coming to a point in the country where you got to stand on the side and take action in some respect, because standing on the sideline is not good enough anymore. And taking that bigger role into diving into fixing things and being a part of the solution instead of the problem is something that we all should work towards and get better for.
True. I really, I think you did with the job of putting athletes together, right? All athletes together, making an athlete community. It's huge. I think that's huge because when we're not monolithic, but at the same time, the amount of power that comes from that, the fear that organization will choke in everybody else around the planet would be crazy. Only because it's a real empowerment. I mean, it's real empowerment. I think that there's too many of us to not mess with us. Right? So we're gonna start messing with us.
Yeah.
Basically, you know. And so once we figure it out, and that becomes the theme, you know, I got something else that I'm going up for that. That's that part of this whole thing I'm talking about. That I'll plug in with that. It's it's gonna be something pretty cool, you know.
No doubt,
So
no
it
doubt.
goes right in hand in hand with what they're doing. So that's awesome.
I like it a lot, man. And the last thing we want to touch on before we done, we want to talk about fear. You know, and fear is something that I think is solely the bridge that we as a people need to take the step to get over it and have courage, because fear is something that not only that you see in training, whether it be pushing new limits or people trying to achieve their goals through the physical part of lifting, but you see it as a mental obstacle as well. So how is fear viewed by you, and how you approach it to getting towards your goals and the things that you're trying to get towards through that?
Yeah. I feel really funny. Uh, so I've tried to address pretty much all the fears that I have. That's my personal growth and my own personal growth. Right. When I was young, my fears. When I was young, I'm young now. Hold on. Um, so when I was younger than I am now, my fears, a lot of them were physical, right? A lot of them were physical. I had a fear of, fears of being shot, so I was shot at. I had fears of, I had, fears of being chased by dogs. Dogs chased me. Like all these things that had happened that were big fears of mine all came to a place where I had to face them at some point. So then I decided I had fear of heights. So I decided to go out and go cliff jumping so I can kill my fear of heights. And I did that, So I've tried to face all the fears that I have that are out there. I never had a fear of the police, for the things that have happened, with those things. But I got confronted with that situation. Got beat up by the police for no reason, and at one point in my life as well. So, which brings you back to all those things. And I think that if you can't, fear shouldn't make you stagnant, right? Fear shouldn't make you stagnant. Fear is say when you pray, you gotta move your feet, right? So if you're fearful of something, we have to look at what is the antithesis of that can quell that fear. So that way you can learn to face it. Most people's fear is the fear of failure. I don't do it because I may fail. And that is the thing. That's the mental block you got to get through. It's the mental block you got to get through with anything, especially when it comes to training the body. Train the body and train the mind. If you can figure out how to make the best you possible, right? It's not a fear place. When you are afraid to try, you're still going to be you, no matter what. It's the same you got. It's the same you got until you get off the couch or make a different thought process. It's still going to be the same you. So what are you afraid of, right? So those things of failure. The failure is you staying exactly the same as you are. That's the failure. That's being exactly the same you are, doing the same things you do mundanely, doing the same things, not putting yourself in any new situations, not reaching for any more heights. The failure is you stay in the exact same place you are right now. So you got to push. You got to push. Push, and you push through those failure spots or the fear spots that when you feel like you fall down, at least you fell down one step further than when you were before. And so that should help, kind of shake some of the fears that we have. And bring that to the, social justice front. If people are like, oh, you say it all the time, wearing a shirt, it's not going to change anything. Wearing protesting is not going to change anything. Saying all that, not going to change anything. Well, it was more than I was doing yesterday, right? It was more than I was doing yesterday. So I don't let the fear of failure or the fear of, I'd rather have the fear of me being in the exact same place I was yesterday to help me move forward, So.
Yeah, it's all in baby steps, man. It's just a progression of things, and I think the more that you talk, we start to see that it's a process for you that you've been approaching each and every day to get better towards figuring out the solution. Because I think we've seen enough divide, and it's time for unity, and that unity is coming from not only a place of genuine in spirit and power, but you live it every day in what you do with training. So it's very uncommon how it all involves sports and the politics for you being able to play in both worlds, but it's good to see that you coming out on the better side of all of this stuff.
Yeah, bro. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. But I'll announce my candidacy in 2022. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. But thanks again, man. This is On the Other Hand podcast where we do it the best. We have to ask before you leave, where does the name Sweets come from? Gregory Oliver is the government name, but where's the Sweets, the nickname? Where's the hit? Because it's famous around here.
So I'm gonna date myself a little bit. Used to be a guy who played running back for the Chicago Bears by the name of Walter Payton, and they called him Sweetness. So I was in high school and that football practice, and in high school, I'm from Texas, so we would have 100, 200 people just watching our football practice every day. I played in front of 16,000 people in high school. So it was it's a different place. It was also a different time. There wasn't all the stuff that's going on. There was like 5 channels on TV. There was like you had NBC, ABC, one of those things. So anyway, I shook a guy at practice, and Coach Reeves was like, "Oh, Sweetness," and the girls at school. I can't believe I'm telling the story. So the girls at school used to call me Greggy. Greggy! It was the worst, bro.
The worst.
Greggy?
The worst.
Greggy. Can you imagine you trying to be cool, walking through the mall, and you hear 12 girls go, Greggy! It was the worst. And so one of my a girlfriend of mine was like, she wanted to be different than everybody else, and she happened to be at practice that day. And she started calling me Sweetness, and some of the guys on the team started calling me Sweetness as a joke at the time. And then it just got shorter and shorter. And then when I got to college, I went to school, and one of my high school friends came and met me in college. So I lost it for like the first 2 years of college, wasn't a big deal. And then one of my friends came and visited me in college and was like, Sweet, blah, 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 and stayed for 2 months, and then everybody else picked it up, and I never lost it from that point on. So,
well, that's definitely something you got to trademark.
Now it's become kind of pretty cool because there's only one Sweets, right? That's it. Like, it's not like there's a bunch of them, and if people are like, oh, do you know there's a million Greg Olivers, right? There's a million Gregory Olivers, but when people are like, oh, Sweets, look at that cat, and, oh yeah, and so it's funny because now there'll be people who I'll be sitting somewhere, I'll get a phone call, and they'll be like, oh, man, we're in the Bahamas, and I'm sitting next to this girl, and she says, well, hold on. I go, Tiffany, what's going on? And because she's mentioned Sweets, not Greg, and then they were like, oh, they know each other, and that's just thing. And a lot of people, it's kind of crazy. So,
hey, well, you keep building your legendary story each and every week, each and every day, man. And I appreciate the things that we've been able to do, and it's very uncommon in what you've always been able to accomplish in each stage of your life, and you continue to progress. And we're seeing it unfold in front of our eyes. So I appreciate being a part of your story and continuing to be a part of it, man. I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
That's love, bro. That's love. That's love. As soon as you get to 7 million followers and stuff, invite me back. Cause I'm trying to, get my growth on. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, tell the people where to follow you. Tell the people where to follow you.
Oh yeah. My bad. So my Instagram is Sweets1914, and my the gym is levels_fitness nutrition on Instagram. We are Facebook is Gregory Sweets Oliver. That's pretty much it. I don't even do Twitter. Do I do Twitter? I do. I think it's Sweets777 maybe. I don't know what that is really. I don't really mess with it. I gotta get better with my social media stuff. Put it all in one thing or something so it can all be in one place. But if you follow me on Instagram, you can catch everything else pretty much. That's pretty much it.
I love it, man. And it's uncommon like we do. On the other hand, we out.
Yeah, bro. Hey, let's go.
Thank you so much, man. Episode number 12 coming to you soon with another guest. Thank you so much.